I'm George Boston Rhynes. I'm down in Duval County. In fact, I'm at the courthouse. I went into the courtroom, and you've already heard what happened to me, but I do know that this morning there was extra seats in the courtroom. They could have let other people in to witness this court case.
The people that are here today in this courtroom waiting for a verdict, the reason why we're here is because we have two specific demands. And people were getting off messaging, and I wanted everyone to go back into what we're here for. Therefore, I went up to people and I decided that we should all together chant for justice for Jordon Davis and the resignation of Angela Corey. And we should stop talking about our own preferable agendas. Everyone in here probably has a different God. Everyone in here probably has a different political view. But the truth is that we're here because we want justice for Jordon Davis, and we do not want Angela Corey to stay in office. So to bring back the messaging and bring back the intentions of being out here.
When you murder somebody in cold blood, there seems to be a pattern. You're killing young people that don't have a weapon. Jordon Davis did not have a weapon. Trayvon Martin did not have a weapon. But they were murdered in cold blood. Jordon Davis murdered for music too loud. Trayvon Martin, you know what WWB means. WWB means walking while black. He was murdered for walking while black. So the African American, the black community, we charge Michael Dunn, child killer, for murder, lynching, and hate crime. It's right here. We, the black community, we charge Michael Dunn, child killer. Make sure you know this is a child killer. He hadn't left high school. He hadn't left the nest. He hadn't left home. He hadn't left the feeding of his mother and father. He was still at home. Michael Dunn, child killer. We charge you, Mr. Dunn, with murder, lynching, and hate crime. We are not going to accept manslaughter and self-defense. We will not accept manslaughter and self-defense. But we said the same thing in Sanford. We said he said it's murder, not manslaughter. And so they're arresting over the case. It looks like a mistrial. It looks like it's going to be something else. And here it is.
They don't talk about all our black children coming in there being killed, being shot, the violence. Martin Luther King talking about three things that are affecting our community: racism, poverty, and violence. Until we get a stop on that, we're going to have these problems. But I'm asking each person to be conscientious of how you spend your dollars. Be conscientious of that.
Amen.
Take back your money.
Amen.
Your money will
Tell
make
the
them
truth.
respect you.
Amen.
in activism.
All right.
But this country is a capitalist country. It's built on profits. It's built on the sweat and blood and tears of my people. Since 1615, they've been raping us.
Woo, there it is.
Put us out there in the cotton fields, and the tobacco fields, and the sugar, and the rice. Why? To exploit our labor for their own good.
Tell the
I'm
truth.
sick of this oppression. We may not have a common interest in religion, but we got a vested interest in our common.
Go ahead, sister. You's preaching now.
Common oppression is what brings us here. And I don't care if you're a person of color, you got a common vested interest in denying oppression on any front.
All right.
Martin Luther King said injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. Oh no.
Tell the story. Thank you.
I love you, I show up. Thank you, bro. This is love right here when I sit on these courtroom steps and dare to tell the truth. Because I don't care about their jobs. I'm not beholden to their jobs. I'm not beholden to their faith-based money.
Go ahead.
I'm not beholden to their government contracts.
I can say amen to you.
I create jobs.
All right.
God gave me a mind to go to school and understand the unjust system so that I could use their system to create jobs.
Go ahead,
That's
sister.
what I'm calling on every black person out here. Start your own business.
I can say amen to that.
Take control of your own economic destiny. Don't be beholden to these people for a job. Oh,
Go ahead. You speak to sister.
what they say, J.O.B.
I love what you say.
That's right. It represents slavery. It represents economic insufficiency, oppression. I will not be oppressed. And I'm like Fannie Lou Ham, I've been saying it all week. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Go ahead.
Until you get tired, you're going to continue to get the same old stuff.
That's right.
The same old. They say insanity is doing the same old thing over and over. And expecting a different result. Take back your dollars. I'm going to keep preaching that. Come on. Because I understand what this country built on. It's built on revenue. That's all they respect is profit. You got to understand that. That's what this is about. Profit.
Go ahead. You go back to our history. Go back to the plantation where everything we had is right. We had to get it from our slave masters. It wasn't until a point where people got sick and tired of the injustice and we fought. So let's fight. That's right. We never fought before.
I just want to say once again, for the people in Duval County, the state of Florida, Georgia, and around the nation. Let me say this, CNN, ABC, Nightline, and the rest of you. I'm asking some of you all to come over and interview me. I need you to ask me why I was in the courtroom. And when I got ready to go back in, they told me that this judge said that nobody can go in except those with the pass. Well, they passed me in, but they wouldn't pass me back in. So now the point that I want to make, when I was in the courtroom this morning, y'all listen close. President Barack Obama, listen to this black man who loved you so much. I love Boehner. And I love this government. But if they had open seats in this courtroom this morning, and I bear witness before God, Allah, Buddha, Esra, Ammon Ray, and the other 473 names that I have record of that God is called. That there was space, listen America, there was space in the courtroom for at least 30 or 40 more people to sit. And nobody occupied those seats. We had people outside here. CNN. Now I know CNN and Fox News want America to know this. Because my question, and I'm going to turn loose the mic, I don't want to talk too long.
Why is it that they don't want us to speak or to hear what is going on under our form of government? I am a retired military veteran. I served during the Vietnam era. I thought that I would never see this day in the land of the free, in the home of the brave. Now everybody here today, I want you to listen to this because you won't see this on CNN. ABC ain't gonna report it. Ain't nobody gonna report it. But go to G.B.R. on my YouTube channel, and they gonna come after me pretty soon. But when they come after me, I want y'all to make the cost high enough that they will never, ever mistreat another one of God's black sons. Please remember that. When they come after me, I want you all to stamp it on your heart. Put it on your children's mind. That say no more. If we have to get the guns, get the guns. I'm sorry, but they made me get the gun. The M16 and shoot people that I didn't even know. They didn't do nothing to me, but they gave me the M16. I served during the Vietnam War, and I'm under 260 days criminal. Trespass 1, because I report the news that CNN won't cover. Mr. Blackwell know me. He haven't interviewed me. No news media in the state of Georgia haven't interviewed me about my denial of my constitutional rights. And now, if there was space in the courtroom, your constitutional rights just may have been violated. Y'all better wake up. The black preachers, I got a message for you. Black preachers, black doctors, rabbis, imams in Islam, your own mothers and fathers. Listen as I close. Please, Fox News, listen to me. How can the preachers under Christ's dome lead us to heaven, but can't lead us in our struggle to save our black boys and our black girls? You stay in your pulpit, but if you can't come out, then I'm going to be brief and short. Somewhere I read, you're liars and the truth is not in you. I'm going to be brief, and y'all excuse me for getting you. Thank you, my beautiful sister. Let me say this, y'all. Do y'all remember the Trayvon Martin trial? Do y'all know the jury makeup here? Now, I'll tell you. There's only one black people on there. One. All right. That black two black. And they say Hispanic or something. So here's the point I want to make. I want to take the seat. I'm not going to talk long. But I want to ask you this question. How is it that when it comes to us, we are never the majority on any jury? And we better start thinking about that. And what troubles me more is how our black attorneys and our black judges are not working, while blacks are not seated on a jury in proportionate numbers. Now, y'all may not agree with that conversation, but let me get to this last scenario. I'm 62 years old and proud of it. Now listen, y'all. Y'all, please listen. When in your lifetime, I'm going to say it again because I want y'all to hear this. When in your lifetime have you ever seen an all-black jury sitting anywhere? Now think about that. So now, are we not qualified? Now, y'all know what qualifications are not qualified mean, though. Now look, blacks used to couldn't be on the police force because they weren't qualified. Now you know why they was unqualified? Because they didn't have the cover for the protection. You know what I say? Now is it because we don't have the complexion to make up to
have made up this majority jury here today?
Yes.
It's just as plain as it could have been all a majority white. Why couldn't it have been a majority black? I'm not saying that black make it right. I'm not saying that white make it right. But what I am saying is that right always make it right.
I want to say this. In the audience today, we have more black women and more black girls than black men and black boys. Black man, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And I'm not talking about the ones that's standing. I'm talking about the ones that are ducking, dodging, and hiding. So give a black hand to all the black mothers, the black fathers, and the black children. And we honor you because we love you. And we say to those in the white community, you came today to stand with us and support us. We accept you for that. Because you are rare indeed. There should be more rights out here. But when we speak about our pain and suffering, you try to shut us down. I'm going to allow Mr. Rhynes, who's a photographer from Georgia, who have worked very hard on the Kendrick Johnson case, to the point that he was barred from going to Valdosta High School, Lawrence County High School. And we want to hear from our brother.
Greetings. I'm going to be brief, but I do want to be strong. Much has been said here today. I don't like repeating nothing. But what I want to say is that I was in that courtroom earlier this morning. They went for a break. Deliberations continued. I came out to go to my vehicle. I gave some merchandise to Freddie Richardson, who is still there, and I think they're going back into the courtroom. I went to these doors here to get back in because I was in the courtroom. Officer Guthridge, I think his name was, Officer Guthridge. Guthridge told me that the judge said that unless you have a pass or a badge, you cannot get back in. Well, why did they let me in the first time? There was nothing that they gave me as a proof that I had been in the courtroom or nothing. Why didn't they do that? More than that, people inside told me that they do have something on the armband. And they said that they were permitted to sit in. Check this out. They say later, the judge rendered that anybody could come in. You didn't have to have that armband. That's how I got in this morning. Now, when I was in there this morning, I want to say to you that there was extra space for other people to sit. So the question is, are we under an open form of government, or are we under a closed form of government? With all of these radio, television stations here, and all these members of law enforcement, the question is, are we losing this republic? Are our rights being controlled, suppressed, and abated? I stand before you as one of the first people to speak about KJ's death in Valdosta, Georgia. I am under a 260-day criminal trespass by the Lowndes County Sheriff Department, and I did not violate any law. So they did it without justification or notification. And do you not know that our only daily newspaper, the Valdosta Daily Times, editor Kay Harris, has never interviewed me about denying me my constitutional rights? It seems as if though the old Dred Scott decision of 1857 is alive and well, which said, the Supreme Court of the United States of America said, in black and white, this is not a myth of my mental disability or handicap. It said that no black man had any rights that a white man had to respect. I didn't write that. Don't get mad with me about saying that. I'm only repeating what the white European and black elected officials say. And so I'm going to say to you today as I pass this mic, because others have a right to speak. No one person have all the rights. Not one person have all the answers. And a court case, why in the heck didn't they get a bigger courtroom? Piggyback on something he said, believe it or not, he was absolutely correct by the Dred Scott decision. The Dred Scott decision that set the preference on blacks. The way it said, it actually said in that also in the Dred Scott decision, it didn't say maybe, possibility, we gonna think about it. It clearly states that the black man has no rights. That none whatsoever. But let me explain something to you. George Boston Rhynes, he is the only reporter that I have met that prints nothing but 100% of the truth. The whole story, not the hidden story. So you need to go to his YouTube channel, Boston G.B.R. And I promise you, you will see the whole truth on everything that's going on, even with the news media. He has over 500,000 views. So go to his YouTube channel. That's Boston G.B.R. on YouTube. Like I said, he goes everywhere I go, and he presents the truth, and nothing but the truth, 100% of the truth, not part of the story, what they want to hear.
This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I just want to show you down in Jacksonville, Florida, how the news media came out in support of our form of government, which is freedom of religion, freedom of the press, and just overall freedoms to do what the founding fathers of this great republic said, and that is that we have rights. You see the satellite antennas because they want you to know what is going on under our form of government. You see all the major news media here. There's Fox News, FoxJack.com, First Coast News, FirstCoast.News, WTLV, ABC. You have so many varieties of different cameras, all down here for the Michael Dunn trial after the death of Jordon Davis. Once again, this is Big Jack, and this is the Ghetto Free Press doing what we do because it must be done. Once again, we are doing what must be done under our form of government. I served 21 years in the United States Armed Forces, and today I'm 260 days under a criminal trespass warning issued by the Lowndes County Sheriff Crime or by Wes Taylor, the superintendent of Lowndes County High School. I really don't know who issued it, but I do know it was issued, and I do know that I was told by one of Deputy Thomas during a rally in support of Kendrick Johnson death, and the mother and father who said they have too many questions that have not been answered. I am intended to show the world the best on our form of government, and that is that we are a free and democratic community. And if we are not a true democracy, wherein citizens have rights, then we might as well take our flag down. We might as well call our boys back from Europe, call our boys and girls back from Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, and Pakistan, and let them come back home and fight for the rights of the everyday common citizen right here in the United States of America. I served during the Vietnam era, and for the Lowndes County governments not to address my issues of an illegal trespass warning, I had violated no law in the state of Georgia or in the United States of America, and yet I am banned, restricted from going on any Lowndes County high school or Lowndes County school property. And the even more sickening, Sheriff Prine told me, it's all been documented, that he would get back with me and check and see if there was a trespass warning And like Kenneth Johnson, the father of KJ, said, somebody lied to him. Well, I stand assured, and I stand 100% certain that no one have gotten back with me. And so I'm going to continue to do what I do in our form of government. If I could fight in foreign nations, and if I could stand up for the democracy of nations in the communist world and tell them we are the beacon of hope, then truly we, the people, should have a voice in the United States of America. And so I'm gonna close this out now. But I want you to know that as the big cameras come to Jacksonville, the Valdosta Daily Times, nor any other local South Georgia television station have addressed my criminal trespass warning. They have never reported the 14-year-old girl that was hog-tied, face down at Pine Grove Middle School. We see people are being interviewed because this is the way it's supposed to be done under our form of government. But nobody in South Georgia have interviewed the 14-year-old girl mother and father. The mother personally gave the TV stations the package of what happened to her daughter. And do you not know that they still didn't report it? They didn't even report it to the common folk in Valdosta, let alone the people in the state of Georgia and around the nation. So that means we better question our government. Do we really have a government all for and by the people? Once again, I'm down here at Duval County Courthouse. And I was in the courtroom once again. I was in the courtroom, but Officer Guttridge told me I could not enter back into the room from the judge's request. What is it that they don't want the people to know? Or was it because the new Black Panther Party was here? They didn't do nothing. They just exercised their rights as being a citizen in this country. Well, be that as it may, we're looking for justice. Law enforcement is everywhere, and we thank God for them. After all, they are our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, and our brothers. And many black officers have a story to tell, but they can't tell it because they too are living in fear. But they know the truth, and they are beginning to tell us, as well as the Black Panthers, what the real deal is behind the curtain. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press, doing what I do, because it must be done.
But let me explain something to you. George Boston Rhynes, he is the only reporter that I have met that prints nothing but 100% of the truth. The whole story, not the hidden story. So you need to go to his YouTube channel, Boston G.B.R. And I promise you, you will see the whole truth on everything that's going on, even with the news media. He has over 500,000 views. So go to his YouTube channel. That's Boston G.B.R. on YouTube. Like I said, he goes everywhere I go, and he presents the truth, and nothing but the truth, 100% of the truth, not part of the story, what they want to hear.
this council person, this is not her first time referring to as black people as niggers.
Wait. Now you talking this Councilman Stone?
Councilman Stone.
Wow.
You know.
If it's not, excuse me, I got to join you, girl. This thing, I mean, I already know we had problems in other cities. Now this is more of a reason why the governor and the Secretary of State and the Attorney General needs to be here. If not the federal government, because you're dealing with civil rights here. So what else happened other than this incident?
Well, she has made the comment, and people have heard her saying that she grew up calling black people niggers. So there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And part of the reason why she's an elected official is because us as black people, some of us did not vote. I would like to tell America to take off the blinders. I would like to tell Governor Deal and any of the people up there that we elected, they need to take the blinders off and come and see what's going on in their communities. Enough is enough, and that's it. We're not taking it. We're not gonna.
Who's the judge?
The same one that's always been, Mr. Judge Rhynes.
So I need to go and get my things from there. Remove everything.
No, ma'am.
Can I go back in the city hall?
She can go back in the city hall as a citizen, not as a mayor.
Oh,
You cannot, you can go to the city council meeting, but not as a mayor.
So, oh, that's what I feel.
This is what this is all about.
This is the Ghetto Free Press, and we just understand that undoubtedly they saying she can not go back as mayor.
Hello, how you doing?
It seems as if though what they've been doing in Meigs is now applicable here in
I was
Gordon.
reading it today.
They say she can go to City Hall, but not as mayor this evening. And they waited until right before the meeting tonight.
Clerk's office at 4:25 today.
How can you do me wrong when I'm doing you right? Baby, when I'm doing you right. Yeah, I bought you a car, house, and a diamond ring, and you're acting like I haven't done a thing. I wanna know how can you do me wrong when I'm doing you right? Tell me, baby, I wanna know how. Oh, I wanna know how can you do me wrong? Oh, baby, when I'm doing you right. Oh, yeah, when I'm doing you right. I worked a full-time job, part-time job at night. Oh, yeah. Even worked on the weekends, baby, to help make ends meet. Oh, yeah. I thought I was doing you right. Baby, I thought I was doing you right. I wanna know, how can you do me wrong? How can you do me wrong when I'm doing you right? That should be hard to do. Oh yeah. I wanna know how. How can you do it? Somebody tell me how. How can that woman do me wrong when I was doing her right? Oh yeah, I was doing her right. You see, I hear the whole town whispering, talking behind your back. I hear the whole town talking, baby, whispering behind your back. I heard the lady the other day How? Talking to another friend, she said, how? I got closer. She said, how can that woman do him wrong when he's doing?
Listen, y'all, please listen. When in your lifetime, I'm gonna say it again because I want y'all to hear this. When in your lifetime have you ever seen an all-black jury sitting anywhere? Now think about that. So now, are we not qualified? Now, y'all know what qualification or not qualified means, though. Right. Now look, blacks used to couldn't be on the police force because they weren't qualified. Now you know why they was unqualified? Because they didn't have the color for the protection. You know what I say? Now is it because we don't have the complexion to have made up this majority jury here today? Yes. It's just as plain as it could have been all a majority of white. Why couldn't it have been a majority black? Now, I'm not saying that black make it right. I'm not saying that white make it right. But what I am saying is that right always make it right.
Greetings, this is the Ghetto Free Press and I'm George Boston Rhynes. While in Atlanta, I received a phone call concerning the Wilkinson County Post, and the front page headlines read, Mayor, Councilman, Throwaway City Money. This video will be discussing, highlighting, and pinpointing the beef of this situation, along with the picture that you're looking at of a city employee asleep in the police department of Gordon, Georgia. Yet, Judy Bailey or no other news media outlets in the state of Georgia have questioned why people are paid to sleep while being paid by city governments. Listen as I highlight what others ignore. I was called a few days ago to this issue of the Wilkinson County Post. An article published by the Honorable Editor Judy Bailey, a white Caucasian, outstanding human being. And I was told about this paper before I got here in the city. The headline reads, Mayor, Councilwoman throw away city money. And on the other side is Gordon employees settle EEOC complaint against city. Now the mayor and this freshman councilman, Barbara Tolles, has been published to the people in the state of Georgia and around the United States of America that this mayor is wasted taxpayers' dollars. They talk about taking a trip for training to an overnight reservations at King and Prince Resort. And I quote, says, they just didn't show up Tuesday, desk clerk Smith said Wednesday morning, and we did not receive a call from either of them. Instead, Blue and Toes watched city workers repair a water main break Tuesday evening off Waverly Drive. According to City Councilman Terry Eady. When I first read this article, I said to myself, just how deep does the mole hole goes when it comes down to the completion of the city audit? When it comes down to what Terry Rhynes, a former councilman, said to me repeatedly, George, they taking the people's money. He told me that. And of course, God has called him on to glory now. And it is my belief that some people may believe that there is a war going on against Mayor Whipperloo and those that surround her and Satan. They believe that Satan, the forces of wickedness, the spirit of unfairness, has taken over this situation of all these accusations against the historic mayor, Mary Ann Whipperloo, the first black mayor, the first black female mayor, and the first mayor, period, in Gordon, Georgia. I've been to a lot of cities, to name a few: Quitman, Meigs, Dawson, Gordon, Davisboro, Warrington, Lumpkin, Smithville, Vienna, and others, Meigs, in case I didn't miss Meigs. And what I have discovered, most of the cities that has problems are with newly elected black mayors, not the old mayors. Now, Ernest Whipple told me about other mayors who has a story to tell. But this is not yet. What I want you to understand and be guided through is that, number one, a lot of people are believing that this is the devil. They believe that a group of people in the clique and among the slicks are out to circumvent the power of the voting process here in Gordon, Quitman, Georgia, Meigs, Georgia, and the other cities that I have mentioned plus. It seems that this diabolical scheme extends all the way up to the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp's office. It parades itself in the governor's mansion. Then it marches out to the Georgia Attorney General, who are fully aware of how Georgians are suffering and in pain and have been begging for help from the government of the state of Georgia, who have thumbs turned down on them. Meigs Mayor Linda Harris called the Secretary of State, called Attorney General Sam Olens, and the governor is fully aware of what's going on in Meigs, Georgia, Lumpkins, Georgia, all of these cities, so this is nothing new. And they think that this is the working of Satan, the evil one, the one that came up against Moses and the children of Israel in the wilderness. Some people are misguided and they believe that this is the same spirit and the forces that stood up against King Jesus in the New Testament. But I want to explain to you today, I want to make it clear for all who listen to this video, what the editor published in this paper is nothing different from the other papers she have published throughout this year. I have them all on YouTube now. And I'm going to go a step further with every article. I want every tax-paying citizen in Gordon to take a look at these papers that I'm going to put on internet. I want the people across America to see what is going on with an elected mayor of the people here in Gordon, Georgia. I want other Americans around the United States of America to understand what a real democracy look like. I want the people in Afghanistan. I want the people in Asia. I want the people in Paris. I want the people in Russia and Iraq, Tajikistan. I want all of these people to understand what a real democracy look like. I want the Palestinian people to look and see what a real democracy look like in North America. And watch. 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 You who know Councilman Barbara Toles, just like the late Terry Reese. Terry Reese stood up. Now look, Barbara Toles believed on being on time. She believes in being on time. So Barbara Toles was a little outdone because the mayor did not get ready to go on down to the island for training, but chose to go to assist the voters, the same voters that she was elected to serve, to make sure they had water for the men, women, children, and the babies and infants. So she was concerned about that. But some people don't care about that. They don't care about the audit. They don't care about the taxpayers' dollars. They don't care about a sitting council members, plural, working against the mayor. Started working from day one, 3 weeks after she took office, when she requested an audit of the finances on your behalf. On your behalf. Haven't finished yet. I'm going to leave this for the God of my salvation. He's going to deal with all of this. And I'm going to tell you before the end, I am 100% sure that the God of the universe will make the mayor victorious against those who believe that they are in the clique, among the slicks, and it goes up through possibly the judicial system, if not to the governor's mansion. I'm here to say that with all of these black mayors, this is not the work of Satan. This is not the work of Satan. Listen, I want it to be extremely clear. This is not Satan's work. Christians, Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, Hindu and others, atheists. This is not Satan's war, not this one. I want you to know, this is God's war. This is God's doing. Satan cannot orchestrate this. Satan cannot master this. Satan cannot win this. This does not belong to Satan. This is Jehovah God, El Shaddai, Elohim, Jah, Allah, or any of the other 428 names of the God of creation I got at my house. The names that God is called, including God. This is his fight. And see, I've said it so many times in my presentation since 1975. I've been doing the civil rights work and civil and women rights work. You got to be able to understand where man leaves off and God takes over. Do you not know that there was a man called John Brown at Harper's Ferry. He was not black, he was a white European Caucasian man. And his mindset, I'm sure, had been one way. But the God of creation stepped in, and God made John Brown an abolitionist for right and righteousness. The white people of that day did not understand what was going on. They called John Brown a Satanist, but they didn't know that God had touched John Brown and brought him into the newness of life. Now, let me go a little further here. I want you to know that Moses, that you all can identify within all the religions I mentioned, that God told Moses to go up into the mountain and tell, not into the mountains, he first went to the mountains to get his respect, but he told him to go up to Pharaoh and tell the president of that day that I say to let my people go. You would think that Satan was in control of Pharaoh. And he was up to a point. But you got to be able to understand where man leaves off and God takes over. Do you not know that Moses went back to God? And do you know that God told Moses, said, now look, Moses, in so many words, not Satan, not you, not his mama, not some secret sect that he may be a member of, gonna change his mind and harden his heart. God said, I'm gonna harden Pharaoh's heart. That took this out of the hand of Satan. Now God is in control. And whenever God is in control, God is going to win. I will never tell those who are allowing God to use them to bring it on. Because if I stand and tell you to bring it on, and knowing that this is God's war, knowing that this is God wanting to reveal himself so men will know the greatness of this God that we call these many names at this dispensation. And so I have to be careful on how I talk to you. You can call me any name you want to, as you're already doing. And you can do a whole lot of other stuff behind the curtain that I know you're doing. And the good thing about it, white people tell me what you're doing. You know, I want you to understand something, that God is so great. God see all colors. God is not colorblind like you. You say you are colorblind when God has given you the ability to distinguish the red, the green, the black, the yellow, the whatever color. But you lie and you say you colorblind. You are a heavenly lie in the pits of hell. You're not colorblind. You see color. There is no way you cannot see a black man, a black woman standing up in the history of Gordon that has never been in that position before. Yet, she have had relatives, maybe some of her own children and grandchildren, to go fight in the wars for this nation. And for her to be treated the way Judy Bailey and the Wilkinson County Post have published her in this newspaper even before she took office is not a disgrace. Is not a disgrace. It is proof. It is proof that the God of our salvation is working. God undoubtedly have hardened the hearts. God have hardened the hearts of the wicked people here. I'll go a step further to say they may have been the righteous. So don't blame even the people. Don't blame Judy Bailey. Don't blame those that surround herself, that surround themselves with by her. Don't blame them, because this is not them. This is the spirit and the power of the living God. And when this God get ready, he's going to move in such a way that even the children, the grandchildren, and the cousins are those who see that Satan have hardened their heart. They're going to know that this is the working of God and not the working of Satan. Let me say it again. Before this is over, the people in Gordon and in Georgia and in the United States of America are going to see something. They're going to see that what is happening here in Gordon is only a microcosm of what is going on in the state of Georgia. And God is using Gordon, Georgia, to turn the light on in Meigs, Georgia. God is using Attorney Joseph Boone to turn the light on in Lumpkin, Georgia. God is using Tawana Brown with her EEOC complaint to turn the light on in Warrenton, Georgia with George Ivory. God is using the Secretary of State to turn the light on in Brooks County in Quitman, Georgia. God is using Governor Nathan Deal when he removed the Quitman 10+2 from the Brooks County Board of Education. He's using Governor Deal to turn the light on so the blind can see. They've been in the darkness too long. Some of them have been in the light too long, and the light was too bright, and they could not see. And so in that situation, God is turning off the light and letting them get accustomed to the darkness and what the black man and woman and their children are going through and have been going through in North America since the year 1555, when the blacks were brought to these shores aboard a slave ship called Jesus, captained by one Sir John Hawkins, a slave trader. Then the Queen of England went and added ships to his fleet, and then the slave trade began for economic reasons, and they never intended for the black man to vote. They never for the black man to be equal to whites. They never intended for the black man to have control over the economic system, and this is why they dropped bombs on black folk in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and this is why in Rosewood in 1923, they murdered those people outright down there in Rosewood. I've been there. We left a landmark there, and a friend of mine, the path and Rosewood, right outside of Gainesville, have a road called John Robinson Road because his grandchildren went down there to work, and Satan didn't cause us to go down there. That was the working of God. I haven't finished yet. In Quitman in Brooks County, in May of 1918, the week of terror. Google them. Don't take my word for it. For Jesus said, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set and make you free. They murdered 12 to 25 black folk. Nothing was done about it. Nothing whatsoever. Google Mary Turner lynching. Mary Turner was a young black woman who only had a husband who had been killed. And when you look at it, look at that case. I can't think of his name right now, but the sheriff took Hayes Turner from the Brooks County jail. Say he was taking him to Moultrie for his safety, but he went by way of Morgan. And that old white mobsters took that man and lynched him in Morgan. It's in the old campground. You can see all this on my YouTube channel. So what has Gordon to do with all of this? God is using this to turn the light on with the week of terror in May of 1918. I haven't finished yet. I went to Moore's Ford Bridge with Representative Tyrone Brooks, and soon the Nation of Islam. Louis Farrakhan is on tap to come to the Moore's Ford Bridge, where there too they murdered black people. Nothing was done about it. And so God is using Gordon, Georgia, to turn the light on, to click, 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 among the slicks and those who are in the game plan. So I'm going to say to you as I close this out, You know, Earl Evans in Quitman was a police officer, black police officer. He was dating a white girl. I was in the military. I did 21 years fighting for the rights of white folk, that black people, according to history, will never get to enjoy they think. And this is why God is working today. God wants you to see that the black man, the original Jews that nobody want to talk about, the Ethiopian Jews, nobody want to talk about them. But somewhere I read, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set and make you free. That means without truth there can be no freedom. Without truth you can only have lies, hypocrisy, and a belief system that you are superior to everybody else. But when the God of creation step in, you'll know where man leaves off and where God has taken over. So I want to thank Mary Ann Whippaloo for being like Harriet Tubman of the Underground Railroad. I'm here to say today that I'm with this mayor all the way. And I don't care if the black folk don't walk with her here in Garden because they're scared as heaven. I don't care if the white people who God have hardened their hearts don't come to the true light and stand up for what is right. That's okay. But I will assure you that just as sure as the sun is shining above the clouds, that this is not Satan's war. This is not Satan's fight. I'm asking all righteous people, don't pray for Satan to stop his war, because this is not Satan's war. I want you to pray a prayer every day and meditate at least 30 minutes a day, preferably an hour. I want you to ask God, say, God, my prayer is that your will be done as I know it will be. But Lord, make the pain bearable for those who fight against you. Lord, don't make their suffering too great. That's the prayer I want you to pray for. God, pray to God about.
There's something about hate that hurts the hater. Somebody must have the power to transform through love. You just hate somebody, and you are as uncomfortable and as frustrated as the person you hate. Oh, hate, there's something about hate that keeps you from walking straight. Something about hate that keeps you from standing up straight. When you hate, you can't see right. When you hate, you lose your power of objectivity. If you hate somebody, you can't see that person. When you hate strong enough, the ugly becomes beautiful, and the beautiful becomes ugly. A good speech becomes a bad speech, and a bad speech becomes a good speech. When you hate strong enough, you will look at a good deed of a person and call it a bad deed. Hate causes you to put the wrong price tag on everything. When you hate strong enough, hairpins begin to sell for $1,000 and diamond rings for 5 cents because you got the wrong price tag on things. There's something about hate. There's something about hate that does something to the hater. So our way must be a way of love. We will stand up right here in this South land and say to our white brothers, we cannot in all good conscience obey your unjust laws. Do to us what you want to, and we're going to still love you, but we're going to disobey these unjust laws. And when you put us in jail, we're going to still love you. Whatever you do to us, we're going to still love you. Do to us what you will, and we're going to still love you. Have we come to that point yet? That we can use the power of our soul to transform the Lord. Amen. Now somebody saying to me, Reverend, what in the world do you mean when you say love your enemies? Love those people who are oppressing you. Do you mean to say you can love those people with an affectionate love? No, I don't mean that. I can have an affectionate feeling for people who bomb my home, trying to kill my wife and my baby, and I can love them with this affectionate love, a sentimental love, certainly not. You know, the Greek language has 3 words for love, and it's a very interesting thing how it applies to our situation. The Greek language has a word called eros. And eros is a sort of aesthetic love. Plato talks about it a great deal in his dialogues, the yearning of the soul for the realm of the God. It has come to us to be a sort of romantic love, a sort of love that we have in our romantic relations. And so we all know about that kind of love. We all know about it. We have all been a part of eros. I guess Edgar Allan Poe was talking about eros when he talked about his beautiful Annabel Lee with a love surrounded by the halo of the sun. I believe Shakespeare was thinking about eros in a sense when he said, love is not love which alters when its alteration finds a bends with the remover to remove. It is an ever-fixed love that looks on tempest and is never shaken. It is a star to every wandering thought. You know, I can remember that because I used to quote it to my wife when we were quoting. And the Greek language talks about philia, which is another love, another level of love. This is a sort of personal affection. It's a sort of reciprocal love. It's an affection between personal friends. And on this level, you love because you are loved. You love people that you like. People that you have things in common with. You go have dinner with them. You talk with them on the telephone. They are likable people, and you have things in common. And they are your personal friends. This is a powerful love. Then the Greek language comes out with another word. It calls it agape. Agape is more than eros, it's more than philia. Agape is understanding, creative, redemptive goodwill for all men. It is an overflowing love which seeks nothing in return. Theologians would tell us that it is the love of God working in the lives of men. When you rise to love on this level, you love men not because you like them, but you love them because God loves them. I think this is what Jesus meant when he said, love your enemies. And I'm glad he didn't say, like your enemies. He didn't say, like your enemies. Because like is a sentimental, affectionate sort of thing. But love is greater than like. I find it pretty difficult to like all of these Southern senators and congressmen up in Washington who are doing everything that they possibly can to defeat the goals of the Negro. I don't like their ideas.
You'll know where man leaves off and where God has taken over. So I want to thank Mary Ann Whippaloo for being like Harriet Tubman at the Underground Railroad. I'm here to say today that I'm with this mayor all the way. And I don't care if the black folk don't walk with her here in Garden because they're scared as heaven. I don't care if the white people who God have hardened their hearts don't come to the true light and stand up for what is right. That's okay. But I will assure you just as sure as the sun is shining above the clouds, that this is not Satan's war. This is not Satan's fight. I'm asking all righteous people, don't pray for Satan to stop his war, because this is not Satan's war. I want you to pray a prayer every day and meditate at least 30 minutes a day, preferably an hour. I want you to ask God, say, God, my prayer is that your will be done as I know it will be. But Lord, make the pain bearable for those who fight against you. Lord, don't make their suffering too great. That's the prayer I want you to pray for. Pray to God about. Pray to God that these human beings would not have to go through so much, because the God of the universe, when he fights a war, there is no better warrior in town. He goes into the banking system and leave all the money intact, and he come out victorious. That God walks in the city hall, and when he walks out, it is squeaky clean. And the righteous will see that he's been through there. And then there's a calmness in the air. There's beauty that represents the founding fathers' desires before this nation was set up, because they knew what they had gone through in England, and they didn't want it to happen here in the United States of America. And so when God comes through, the righteous will know that Satan did not have a hand in this. This war belongs to God. And in the end, God is going to win. Now, this little black woman right here, Mary Ann Whippaloo, and Barbara Tolles now have been added to Terry Reese. They are standing up. We have other black folks here. You don't hear much about them. You are telling the mayor what she should do and what she should not do. You're trying to get ahead of her attorney, Wayne Kendall. But I'm asking you again, let God work this one, please. That's why when the woman came out and hit my hand with the camera, you don't see where I came out at her. When I be at these meetings and they call me these dirty names, you don't see where I come out at them. When they lie on me and ask me, am I from Gordon, for the most part, you don't see me spew out the venom upon them as they spew it out on me. Now, if this was Satan's war, I would come out at them in a way that God have blessed me to do. Or I can deal with all of it on another level. But I got to obey the God of my ancestors. I can't do what they do to me. Because when the punishment that God dishes out, it's everybody gonna know it. It's gonna be devastating, and you gonna know that this man have already forewarned you about it. You gonna see it. God of my ancestors is gonna make it so clear. It's gonna be crystal clear. Listen now, I want y'all to remember this. When God get through with Gordon, and when God get through with this, it's gonna be crystal clear that even Ray Charles can see it. Not because he's blind, but because he's in a vault 6 feet underground. And he's gonna be able to see, and he's gonna say, that's God's doing. That's not Satan, that's God's doing. So all I can say to you, as T.D. Jake would say it, get ready, get ready, get ready. And while I'm talking about T.D. Jake, isn't it amazing how God have hardened Tyler Perry's heart, T.D. Jakes, Oprah Winfrey, CNN, with Victor Blackwell and Al Sharpton, MSNBC, and 60 Minutes, and 48 Hours, and Dateline, and Al Jazeera. Haven't you noticed how God have hardened all of their hearts? They won't even come to Gordon, Georgia. They won't even go to the newly elected black mayors who are catching hell on the backside of heaven. They won't even come because the God of our ancestors have hardened their hearts. He has made the newspapers shut up, close their presses down. The only press that God is allowing to operate, listen, is the Wilkinson County Post. God is allowing this paper to publish because this is God's doing. Don't think this is Satan. God is doing this because God wants to manifest himself to you. God wants you to see his greatness. God wants you to see as it was in the days of old when he went up against armies of the world and didn't even have weapons. And he won the war without even firing a shot in so many cases. And so when I received this call about this newspaper, then I received another document here. There's no name on it. It's just like when people hit me up sometime on the internet. They tell me that I edit my video, but they don't never tell me what I edit out. And a lot of other talk that I respect. You see, I know that God have blinded them as well, and so I have to be careful how I come out at them, lest I fight against God. And this is why I don't talk about them that much, but I try to always give them an
G.B.R.
answer.
department, they don't talk about all our black children coming in there being killed, being shot, the violence. Martin Luther King talked about three things that are affecting our community: racism, poverty, and violence. Until we get a stop on that, we're going to have these problems. But I'm asking each person to be conscientious of how you spend your dollars. Be conscientious of that.
Amen.
Take back your money.
Amen.
Your money will
Tell
make
the
them
truth.
respect you.
Amen.
Not your friend.
All right.
Watch out now.
Not your margin.
Preach.
Although it has its place.
Preach.
I believe in activism.
All right.
But this country is a capitalist country. It's built on profits. It's built on the sweat and blood and tears of my people. Since 1615, they've been raping us.
Whoop, there it is.
Put us out there in the cotton fields, and the tobacco fields, and the sugar, and the rice. Why? To exploit our labor for their own good.
Tell the
I'm
truth.
sick of this oppression. We may not have a common interest in religion, but we got a vested interest in our common.
Go ahead, sister. You preaching now.
Common oppression is what brings us here. And I don't care if you're a person of color, you got a common vested interest in denying oppression on any front.
All right.
Martin Luther King said injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. Oh, no.
Tell the story. Thank
When
you.
I love you, I show up. Thank you, bro. This is love right here when I sit on these courtroom steps and dare to tell the truth. Because I don't care about their jobs. I'm not beholden to their jobs. I'm not beholden to their faith-based money.
Go ahead.
I'm not beholden to their government contracts.
I can say amen to you.
I create jobs.
All right.
God gave me a mind to go to school and understand the unjust system so that I could use their system to create jobs.
Go ahead,
That's
sister.
what I'm calling on every black person out here. Start your own business.
I can say amen to that.
Take control of your own economic destiny. Don't be beholden to these people for a job. Oh,
Go ahead. You speak it, sister.
what they say, J.O.B.
I love what you say.
That's right. It represents slavery. It represents economic insufficiency, oppression. I will not be oppressed. And I'm like Fannie Lou Ham, I've been saying it all week. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Go ahead.
Until you get tired, you're going to continue to get the same old stuff.
That's right.
The same old. They say insanity is doing the same old thing over and over.
Expecting a different result.
Expecting a different result. on. It's built on revenue. That's all they respect is profit. You gotta understand it. That's what it is. It's about profit.
When I was a little boy, there was a lot of love. Love between brothers and sisters, neighbors and friends. There was so much love.
I would
But I
like to tell
thought
America to take off the blinders.
love
I would like
never
to tell
end.
Governor Deal and
today,
any of the people up there
as I look
that
around
we
me,
elected, they need to
I see
take the
so
blinders
much
off and
hate
come and see what's going on in their
and killing
community.
everywhere.
Enough is enough, and that's
So
it.
if you
We're not
got
taking
someone
it.
that loves you,
Until we get them a question
I'll tell you today,
stop on that, we're gonna have
you
big
better love them
problems.
back.
But I'm asking you to be kind.
Where did all the love go? Somebody tell me where did it go? Where did all the love go? Somebody tell me where did it go?
I didn't talk about it because I want to allow God to work. I don't want to interfere with the God of my salvation. But it seems now, thanks to this, I can give you that. And this was given to me, and it reads, let me share it with you. The top of it says, let's talk about wasting city money by a real concerned citizen, whoever that may be. Here's what it says. Judy Bailey lying and causing more confusion over $340 one night's missed reservation when the truth is Tawana Brown, Gordon City Clerk, and Crook made the reservation in an effort to discredit Mayor Mary Ann Whipperloo, the historic first black mayor ever in Gordon's history. Clerk Brown knew the conference did not, listen, Clerk Brown knew the conference did not begin until Wednesday. Yet she made the reservation for one day earlier and then started calling the motel to see if the mayor and councilwoman, Barbara Toles, by chance checked in early to take advantage of this free stay. Now, you see? Do you see what's going on? And listen now. If somebody lied to you once, or if someone lied on you twice, they will do it again and again and again, and then they can get attorneys. They can even get superior court judges, their friends, who go golfing with them, or who go up to football games, or go out in these resorts in the backwoods of Georgia. And they plot against you. The next paragraph says, Judy Bailey aiding and abetting in simple-minded tricks to destroy the mayor, but not one word, listen, not one word about the thousands/millions of Gordon City funds embezzled and misappropriated by the previous Gordon City administrators. That's the same thing the late Terry Reese told me about. The same thing he showed me was documentation. Oh yeah, he let me look at the books. He saved paperwork. That man was bent on ensuring that white folk who pay taxes would be respected and that their taxes would be spent for the best interest of Gordon. So just maybe one day, Gordon would get a Huddle House, Gordon would get a McDonald's, or Gordon would get something here for the young folk. This is what Terry Reese was working with. He talked to me. I got some of his words recorded. Yes. Yes. He talked about them QuickBooks in detail to me. He showed me documents and highlighted the checks and the back of the checks and what was not there on the back of the checks. And oh, this thing gonna get, God is in control of this, y'all. There is no man that can fight against the God of my ancestors. Let me finish, y'all. Y'all excuse me. You see, I want you to have this thing so bad until I be done told you too much, and therefore I will circumvent or go against the God of my ancestors. I don't want to do that. Let me go to the next paragraph. And what about the yearly vacation that officers Hester, I don't know Hester, but it's a officers Hester, Officer Green, and former Officer Ushery take along with their families and friends. Not only do they go, but they talk about their friends and family members to Brunswick every year. Not one day, but every year. All using city money. Wait a minute. I don't know. They didn't sign the name. But they say they're all using city money. What Judy Bailey is implying by not reporting this story is that some folks can do whatever they choose. Do you not know that when the mayor went to court about the terroristic threats, that according to Elijah and another black woman, and I witnessed the after effects. I wasn't there when it happened. But they said that Councilman Terry Eady almost ran them over. Listen. See, God, now, I wasn't going to say that. But the train of truth is rolling in. The train of truth is rolling in now. Thanks to God working with Judy Bailey. That's why I'm telling y'all, don't y'all dislike Judy Bailey for allowing God to use her. Don't dislike her. Praise her. Pray for her. She needs your prayers because we can't fight against the God that delivered Daniel from the lion's den, that delivered the children of Israel out of the wilderness, that delivered Jesus from the cross of Cephas, Cephas, and Pilate, and all those guys, Pilate, Herod, and Cephas. God delivered Jesus. God delivered the dry bones in the valley. And God is going to do a new thing here in Gordon. Let me finish. I'm sorry. Y'all excuse me. I'm trying to stay within the will of God. Wake up, citizens of Gordon, and listen to the truth. You've heard enough lies from your local TV stations, radio, and television. You need to wake up from the lies this person said. Do you remember when William Baskett talked about the audit and how no TV station in Middle Georgia was even in the room? They don't care about truth. Now, why would I say that? Why would I say that? Am I right or am I wrong? The things that they care about, they report. I'm saying it again. We must understand where man leaves off and God takes over. You see, God is using the TV stations to white all this out with the Quitman 10 plus 2. Do you know the Quitman 10 was in court for 19 long days with Judge McCarvey? And do you not know that not one, listen, not one newspaper, not one television station, not one radio station, not one voting rights organization was there? Do you know that? This is what we got to wake up to. This is what we got to wake up to. That these entities can't help themselves. They don't even realize. Victor Blackwell don't even understand that God is using him to shut all of this news out. 60 Minutes don't understand that God is using them to show the world what a real democracy looked like when it comes down to the active duty men and women in uniform, how they put their life on the line in foreign countries only to return home to be picked up on a criminal trespass warning as I'm under for over 18 months. and the local governments in the state of Georgia, nor the Attorney General, nor the Secretary of State, nor the governor or Eric Holder in the Justice Department will not even remove me from a bogus criminal trespass warning. Banned me in May of 2013 from the Lowndes County High School graduation, and I could not go in 2014. Then when I wrote the sheriff and the school, they say they have nothing on me. I know they didn't, and I told you to. But they wouldn't put it in writing that they removed me. Y'all got to understand something. God have hardened many white folks' hearts. Many white people's hearts have been hardened. But we also know in the black experience, I was sitting last night with a white lady who is dedicated to the truth here in Gordon, Georgia. I was in Atlanta a few days ago with 2 white women who are working behind the curtain as we went and talked to. As I went and talked to on behalf of you and the citizens of Gordon and the people in Meigs and all the other places that I've been, I went and talked to Gregory L-O-H-M-E-I-E-R Lohmeyer. I went and talked to him, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General's office. Yeah, I went there. I went there because I know unequivocally that the God of my ancestors will be victorious in all of this. And I have to be careful. I don't fear no man, but what I fear is the God of the universe. And so when God tells me to speak the truth, I got to speak it because I love you just that much. And so the Lowndes County Sheriff Department also botched up the Kendrick Johnson death, the 17-year-old high school student. I talked to that young man's father every other day, sometimes repeatedly. I could get into that, but let me stay a little bit more focused and pointed. Now, let me finish with this. I'm not even worried about my criminal trespass because God got that in control, too. That's why you don't hear me talk about it that much. In Walmart Stores Incorporated, you are greatly being used by God, and you're going to find out in not too many more days, or weeks, really. You're going to see something next few months during these holiday seasons. Let me get back here. Judy Bailey, please, the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Listen, let me repeat that. Whoever wrote this, and I understand that was in all the councilmen's basket or box or something. So they didn't do it to be kept secret. So I'm sure this will be in Thursday's Wilkinson County Post in its entirety. I'm sure that Judy Bailey will publish this along with the picture of this white lady sleeping in the police department while they're being paid. I'm sure you'll see that in Thursday's Wilkinson County Post. Let me repeat again. Judy Bailey, please, the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. And that's what God is doing. God helping her. Oh, yeah, you can say what you want, but God is helping Judy Bailey. And she's going to know that God is helping her because God make himself known. He made himself known to Pharaoh. He made himself known to the dry bones in the valley. He made himself known to Hezekiah and added 14 more years to his life. When God come on the scene, God let himself known. When God stepped out from his domain, he said, let there be light, and there was light. God wanted the people to know where he was. He wanted the people to know his powers, and he wanted the people to know that that was not Satan's work, that that is his work, and God is about to do a work now that we all are going to see. Make no mistake about it. God got control of this. And lastly, Oh, and by the way, Judy, you missed a great story about the officer sleeping on duty. Officers sleeping on duty, a sure waste of city money. Now, let me say it again. They highlighted to the editor and publisher of the Wilkinson County Post and all other newspapers that they own. These people own a lot of newspapers. And if they report one-sided in this newspaper, you can only imagine what the other newspapers look like. And so now, God is highlighting and showing you that freedom of the press is not so free. God is showing you in uniform in the Army, the Marine, the Navy, and Air Force, that your service to your country may be a waste of time. Yeah, the service to your country that they told you you're fighting for freedom and justice and equality for all people, your service to your country just might be a waste of time. Only America can change the image of itself in the eyes of the ordinary American. I served this country for over 21 years. Never got a letter of reprimand. Got one letter of counseling. And I made the first lieutenant tear that up and apologize to me and throw it in the trash in Moody Air Force Base, Georgia. I was an upright man then, as I'm an upright man now. And the reason I do that, because I read in the volume of sacred law, it's a dangerous thing to fall in the hands of an angry God.